daily and to go through some of the experiences that are happening to some people in the office so that others don't make the same mistakes. So Richard, tell us a little bit about the experience you just went through.
So what I'm going through right now, I have a listing in Coral Gables, and so I have a listing in Coral Gables. It's a cottage home, one of the, kind of the homes that you see a lot in the Coral Gables. It's a 2-1. It's actually a 3-2, built in the 1940s, that kind of home. The home has some issues. It's just it's an older house. The roof, the septic tank, the this, and that, the other. So we had an offer, we accepted an offer, we're under contract, and they're in the inspection period. The inspection came back with a lot of things. And in my contract, I have we agreed on a price. They also agreed to go $35,000 over appraisal, which was good. They've since come back now with a new proposal. They want to, this is the interesting thing. They want to extend the inspection period 15 days. They want for the seller to take care of a couple of items so that the house will qualify for insurance. And then they are lowering the sales price. So I think overall, it's a reasonable request, except for taking the house off the market for 15 days. That puts all the power on the seller. And if you're representing, that puts all the power on the buyer. If you're representing the seller, that just does not make any sense at all. Why am I going to take this property off the market completely for an additional 15 more days so that they can come back and decide after 15 days, I don't want it? Because if you're under inspection period, remember, the buyer can cancel the contract for anything at any time. And I think the takeaway lesson there is you want to work with the buyer that you have. You don't want to let that buyer go. If there's things that you can negotiate, price anything, you want to hold on to that buyer. So I'm going to counter if they agree. I was talking to you about that this morning. If my sellers agree, I recommended that we don't agree with the 15-day, that we lower the price, but not as much. We meet them halfway. I went by the inspection report. The inspection report noticed like $50,000 worth of repairs. I met them halfway and lowered the price $25,000. And let's move. Let's go forward. So that's what our counter will be if we get to that point.
I received an email from an agent that when they're representing a buyer and they go through the inspection period and the inspection report comes back and it's 30 pages of things in the report, the way you want to utilize that as a negotiating tool is go through the inspection report, item by item, because they break it up into parts. They'll say roof, they'll say electrical, they'll say plumbing, and you go through that inspection report yourself before you share it, or you send it to your client too. But your client is hoping that you take the time to go through the report and highlight some specific items that could potentially be deal breakers. So once you identify things that could be deal breakers, you're giving your client recommendations on, hey, what do you think of this? They want us to replace the roof. Obviously, replacing a roof is, it could be $15,000, $20,000. So there is a potential way that you could use that to lower the purchase price or to get the seller to do something. But you just can't send the report to the listing agent and say, the report is asking, or it's recommending that you give us a $50,000 credit. Because the inspectors, they just estimate more or less what it could be, but they don't have real prices. So it's our job to kind of guide the seller or the buyer on what we would like to expect, right? So you go through that report and you start making comments, and if there's something electrical that just needs a breaker or something minor, you can say, hey, this is what we're going to ask for, but you bullet point the request in an email, and you prepare an addendum that already gets signed by the buyer before you send it to the listing agent. So for example, if I get an inspection report and it has, you know, plumbing issues, electrical issues, cabinet issues, I would bullet point the things that, you know, the buyer wants. You know, these are the requests that he wants, and I would immediately create an addendum asking those things to be completed by the seller. And I would send my email with my bullet points along with my addendum, already asking for what the buyer wants. And you don't have to feel that you're going to lose the deal at this point because you're already under contract. All you're doing is trying to negotiate some better terms for your client. If everything that you ask for gets denied, then it's up to your buyer to decide if he wants to move forward, you know, not getting any of his requests accepted. So that's a really good position for you to be in, to ask for whatever you want, hoping that you get some sort of counter or they accept the terms that you've requested. Okay.
I learned something else. I think I'd forgotten it and I re-remembered. Is that a word? If you, let's say I'm representing the seller, okay? The inspection is the property of the buyer. The inspector, the buyer pays for the inspection. The inspector does the inspection, sends the report to the buyer. The inspector may or may not copy the buyer's realtor, okay? So then the buyer's realtor, hold on one second. The buyer's realtor will call you. The buyer's realtor calls you and says, hey, I've got some things that we need to go over and we want to get some credits from you. I'm representing the seller. I can ask the buyer, will you share the inspection with me? And they can, or they don't have to, but most likely they will. Now, here's the important part. Before you share that report, that inspection report with your seller, you need to do two things. One, you need to ask permission. You should have that like in a text or an email. May I share this with my client? May I share the inspection report with the seller? And they say yes or no, you have it, okay? Now, the seller needs to also be aware that if they receive that report with the, con todas las cosas que están mal, the plumbing is this, the this, whatever, if that sale should fall through, they need to update their seller's disclosure because now they know. If they didn't get the report, they could say, oh, it's hearsay. Maybe it's one inspector's word against mine, you know, that kind of thing. But if they look at an inspection report, they have to update that seller's disclosure. And if you're in the case like Julio was talking about, you need to tell the seller, look, we need to negotiate with this buyer. Potentially, maybe we have to, because if this buyer goes away, you need to update your seller's disclosure, and now all these flaws are going to be highlighted. Okay, so it's always a little bit of a double-edged sword if you accept that buyer's inspector. Yes, ma'am. Lacey.
When you say the seller's disclosure, that's in the MLS, or when somebody actually tries to put a contract on it?
So the seller's disclosure is something that you have. You can put it on the MLS if you'd like, but when you have a buyer that comes and talks to you, they will ask for the seller's disclosure. That's part of the process by rule and by association law. You have to have a seller's disclosure. And remember, the seller is the one that fills that out. You can't fill it out. And they fill out things to the best of their knowledge. It asks questions like, has there been flooding? Has there been leaking? Is the roof this? Is the roof that? They may not know. And if they don't know, they mark don't know. But if they do know, for example, that the roof there was leaking, but they fixed the roof, they write that in.
I also think this is a very good way for us as buyers agents to protect ourselves and the buyers from material known facts of the house. A good example would be, does the house have termites? And the seller could say, no, it doesn't have termites. And then you later find out that it's infested with termites. Well, now you have something to defend not only yourself, but also the buyer in saying the seller told us no. Now, if I'm representing the seller, I would tell the seller, do you know if you have termites? If you don't know, circle don't know. Don't put in yes or no, because you really don't know and you're not a termite inspector. So these are ways for us to determine, what the seller is disclosing that he knows about the home. And that's always going to protect you representing the buyer. And it also protects the buyer as well. So you have to ask for it. You can't, sometimes it's not always, listed as an attachment on the MLS. If you don't see it listed on the MLS, then you're going to ask the listing agent to send you that, within, 3 to 5 days of getting an executed contract. On our contract, it says it's already auto-populated in the additional terms that we should receive the seller's disclosure within 3 days of receiving the executed contract. So that's a good way for us to protect ourselves from, receiving an executed or a seller's disclosure. Okay, so now you have an idea of when to ask for it when you receive an executed contract, and it'll protect you. Right.
For how long does that work?
Yes.
Like if they found that the house was infected.
Luisa just,
Hola, Luisa. Todo bien, mi amor. ¿Cómo está usted?
okay, so that's check that off. What else we want to talk about?
Yanesis, estamos en la misma de reunión de Avanti en el momento. Yo te llamo cuando termino. Está en Zoom la reunión de nuestra oficina.
So let me go into now talking about using our center of influence to farm, to hunt for leads. And this is without even really planning it, this is a really good follow-up to the conversation we had 2 weeks ago, which I stumbled through how to use a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of fits right into it. The center of influence, that's your network, the people that know you best, the people that you engage with, the people that are on your phone, on your address book. The center of influence is your first best bet on networking and on getting information on people that might need your services. But like we mentioned before, last 2 weeks ago on your CRM, everybody that's on your phone, on your address book, do you really know them? Do you know who they are? Do you really know where they live? Do you know their addresses? Do you know these things? You probably don't know it for everybody. You have them, you have one name, you have their, hold on a second. You have their first name, you have where they work, but you don't have details about them. So first step, get them on the phone, ask them questions, find out about them. And don't be cheesy, don't be all salesy, right? Talk to them, just have conversations. And then be prepared. And this is something that I want to challenge everybody with. Get prepared to answer the question, how are you doing? What are you doing? You need to be prepared for that. And that's what I've been talking to you guys about, and I was going to share with you, is have an elevator speech prepared. That's a 1-minute introduction of who you are, what you do, what you want to do. And have something like that ready for people that you know, for people that you just met. It's an important tool for you to have. So when you're reintroducing yourself to your contacts who you haven't talked to in a while, tell them you're in real estate. Tell them you're with Avanti. Tell them that Avanti has 10 offices. Tell them that we have 10 offices stretching from Orlando all the way to Tampa. We have offices in Weston. We have people in Brickell. Tell them that tell them what we do. Okay, tell them how excited you are to be working in the real estate field and ask and offer them, hey, let me know if I can help anybody that you know. If there's anybody you know that I can help. Don't attack them directly. Okay. If you know that they live in a certain neighborhood and that's a neighborhood you're working, but we were talking about working your area, tell them about a recent sale. Tell them about a new listing. Say, hey, oh, did you know that, 2 blocks from you, there's a house that just went to sell for blah. Let them know that you are an expert in what you're talking about. Okay.
Also, it's important for your neighbors to also know that you're in real estate, because the worst part is if your neighbor puts his house up for sale and you've never said hello to them, and all of a sudden you see another sign of some other broker right down the street from your house. So I think it's always, when you're a realtor, you have to let your neighbors know. You walk down the street and just say hello to people and give people your card, just to introduce yourself and say, by the way, I'm an expert at real estate and I do real estate in case you ever need my services. It'll make them think twice about listing their house with someone else, and they're gonna, knowing that you're right down the street. All right. And sending out a CRM, an email to people like now on a weekly basis. Today, Monday, would be a great day to send out a message to your CRM saying, here's a new market update for real estate. So I want you guys to get used to putting your things on a schedule so you don't forget to do that. Specifically today, Monday, is a great day to do it after everybody came back from spring break.
To that point, when you're talking to somebody, ask them if they would mind if you would put them on if you can put them on your mailer list. I don't want to be touting and pitching Avanti all the time, but we have ready-made templates. Julio went through that a couple weeks ago. Actually, he challenged everybody to do a mailer. Who did it? Who did that? Who did that?
¿Quién lo hizo y quién no lo hizo?
Who did it?
Yo no vine la semana pasada.
That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse.
Nadie me lo dijo.
Anyway, I sent a summary. I did.
No.
I emailed the summary to everybody. Yes, I did.
Es que no
So-
tengo el correo de Avanti ni
Oh
teléfono.
my God.
Necesito
Oh my
el
God.
correo de Avanti aquí.
Okay.
Oh, that's true.
Come on.
So anyways, ask them if they can be on your mailer. Okay. And that's one, to make sure that they'll accept your emails and that it won't bounce. And two, you've got somebody that you're going to, is going to be an audience ready to receive the stuff that you're going to send. Promise them you're not going to send them a bunch of stuff. You're going to send them valuable information on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And then immediately when they say yes, immediately you send them an email or a voicemail or a video, or you do videos or something that says, hey, thank you for being on my mailer list. Thank you for being part of my team. I promise I'm going to give you good service. I'm going to give you good information, and let me know how I can help. Something like that. As you're going through your centers of influence on your contacts that you have in the CRM, you put them in different categories. There's the one category that's going to be there, get your stuff. Okay, they're your friends. Then there's the other category, the important category. These are your VIPs, the category of people that, because of where they work, who they are, what they do, they have the most potential of introducing you to potential buyers or sellers, somebody that might need your help. Maybe they have a business and they have employees. Maybe they are the head of she's a human resource person, or she's an attorney. Somehow, these are the people that you really want to focus on. And then we go back to that question: how well do you know them? Get to know those people really, really well. Do they own? Do they buy? Where do they go? Do they have any kind of things that are changing in their life? Get to know those people well, because you're going to be there ready to help them. They're going to see that. They're going to refer you. Okay. So everybody on your mailing list, find excuses to contact them outside of your email list. When's their birthday? When is their anniversary? When is their kids' birthdays? Did they just buy a boat? Did they have a great vacation? Find little things. And you guys do Facebook. I don't do Facebook, but you guys do Facebook. So there's a lot of ways to find out what these people are doing, right? So we're talking here about organizing your database. We're talking about connecting with your database, presenting yourself as an expert, presenting yourself as a resource, having that elevator speech ready so that you can talk about yourself in a way that's natural. If I ask you, what do you do? You'll have a response for that. I'm talking about investigating your contacts, getting to know those contacts, getting to know who they really are, where they live, what they need. I'm talking about your follow-up emails. I'm talking about the email blast that you're going to be doing using our templates. We're talking about engaging with your connectors, the VIP people that are going to put you in touch with other folks, okay? So for these, you're going to use the email blasting. Remember, and also the Avanti email system tells you who's opened it, when do they open it, which is your most popular email blast. So you can study all those things. We're talking about using the CRM, which is last. Oh, you weren't here. So it's a great tool. It's a fantastic tool. Why are we doing this? Because we want to have a predictable database. We want to have a database that's not just, hey, who do I call for lunch? Or I think I know somebody. No, you're going to know who's on your database. You're going to know what they do. You're going to know it's going to be your most important tool. When you find that person, the one that's going to buy the $10 million house that's going to put your name, up with the leaders, that person is not going to be as important as all the people on your database, because your database is going to give you consistent business, consistent opportunities. And look, I'm saying this, and I know it's difficult. I know it's a hard thing to do, but the sooner we do it, the sooner you're going to get the results of using that.
One of the emails that I received, that I think all of you receive, is an email from Chris Umper. Chris Umper. Am I saying that name correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Umper. So he sends this every few days, and I come to him for content on what I'm going to send to my database, right? So if you click on this link, it says Realtor.com Listapalooza. The best time to list is the week of April 10th through the 16th. Home sellers on the fence waiting for that perfect moment to sell could start preparations, because the best time to list a home is approaching quickly. The week of April 10th through April 16th is expected to have the ideal balance of the housing market conditions that favor home sellers. So if somebody in your database is thinking about selling their house, you send him this little report and they're going to say, oh my God, statistics say that April 10th through the 16th is the best time to list their property. We should be sending this information to all of our people. So I'm going to use this document and go to my CRM and send this to my database so that hopefully a few listings come out of that. And that's just an example of how we can use what the association is sending us to resend to our influence, to our sphere of influence. All right. And with that, I think we've covered all the bases, Richard.
Yeah, we can. I got more stuff here for.
Question.
Yes.
What is our CRM?
I'll show you when I'm at home and I go to Marketing Suite, CRM system.
And how do I add your contacts?
Here we have add contacts.
That's fantastic.
Here is where you add audience. Add contacts, multiple. And then you can add all of your Google contacts. Just what's temporarily unavailable, but they're going to fix this and you can immediately add all of your Google contacts to your list so that you have an audience of people to send to.
And you can do it one by one,
One by one?
One by one.
If I wanted to do one by one,
Just click there and choose that option.
Still thinking. Add contact. Email. Select option. And then you just hit confirm.
And the date of birth.
If you have it, so that way you can send him happy birthday emails.
But I
And
have to send the happy birthday. I have to remember his date.
if you know his birthday, you could put it there. If you know his anniversary, all of this just helps you retouch that person again.
And it goes automatically.
You can make it automatically. Yeah.
Imagine you have many guys.
So there's an exercise that you can do with, every time you somebody's birthday on Facebook, all you do is say, happy birthday.
So the
With a
system
little-
will tell you when.
The system will not tell you their birthday, but if you have people that are in your Facebook contacts that are also in your database, you want to try to put their birthdays in so that not only do you send them a happy birthday on Facebook, but you also send them a happy birthday with a real estate related message.
But most those people are in here anyway. So you're gonna.
And you can get them from there too, from your iCloud.
But you're gonna, what I'm saying is that you're already gonna know because it's each of your contacts. You're gonna get a heads up on your calendar.
So nowadays, if I receive an email on my birthday with something related to real estate, I'm like, wow, look,
Yeah.
she remembered. I can't believe that. I got an email. This person, they remembered my birthday, not just on Facebook. 'Cause everybody does it on
But
Facebook.
the important thing here for the CRM is, say, you have the birthday here, right? It pops up, hey, reminder. But when you engage with them, you sent them an email, you sent whatever, you write it on the CRM. I did this. So you keep a track of when you spoke to them, how you spoke to them. If you have a conversation, if they ask you a question, you write that in. So that, and I'll show you later.
Here, you would put it here.
No, actually,
I spoke to,
no,
No,
not there.
not here.
Close that. Close it. Can I go to open up Julio Guzman? Okay, so when you have an activity, you add activity, activity, add activity, select, it was an email, right? And then you wrote, this is what happened. I sent them this, they responded with that. Okay. You add the activity on the bottom right. No, bottom, right there. No, up. Sorry, right there. Right under your, right there. So now, scroll down a little bit more. It has everything there that you've done with that person. Now scroll back up, Julia. Hit task. So let's say, as a result of that conversation, they said, hey, I might be interested in looking at something. So then you write add task.
I clicked it
Okay.
here.
Task, you're gonna do a phone call. You're gonna say a follow-up from March conversation. Phone call, due date. Put on the due date, you say when that's gonna happen. Let's say it's gonna happen
March 31st
March 31st. And in the notes, and you put the time.
at 9 p.m. or
9
9
a.m.
a.m.
Right there. And then in the notes there, you write, Fulano asked about whatever. We'll call to give information on luxury home.
And why you do that?
Not gonna understand.
Save.
No, select type.
Type.
Select type.
And then, it's gonna be a call.
Oh.
And priority high, because that person asked you for information, save. Okay, now,
Oh.
go to your home screen. Every day, when you scroll down, when you open up your main Avanti screen every day,
Here, no?
now scroll down a little bit. Right here on, a little bit more. On upcoming tasks. On upcoming tasks, that'll pop up. So you know what you need to do. You're prepared to know what you're gonna do. It gives you that little screen gives you stuff that you need to do for your transactions. But it also brings up stuff that, see, that was it on the bottom list.
Yeah, right
That's
here.
it. I have a task coming up. And it keeps this database, it's a real tool. It's something that you're going to absolutely use. We've never used it that way. We have it, and that's the example you were giving. El ejemplo que tú estabas dando. I don't remember so-and-so, I don't remember so-and-so. Here you're gonna remember, because go back to the CRM real quick, please. Because not only do you put their names, you put definitions, and open up Julio.
Loading.
This is how you're gonna remember this.
Why doesn't it load?
I don't know, it was a little slow this morning as well.
Well, it's gonna come up here. And then once it comes up here, you're gonna show you what
And
you're
you can-
supposed to do.
So see that here on the far right, where it says tags?
Mhm.
Tags,
Right here.
you can define tags to be whatever. They speak Spanish, they are in the healthcare business. So you put healthcare, Spanish speaking, whatever it is to identify those people.
It's like a reference.
It's like a reference. It's a bookmark.
Yeah.
And that's how you're gonna find those people that you don't remember who they are. Do I know somebody that does this? If you've labeled them correctly, you'll find them. Anyway,
If there's a specific,
open up any name, your name better. Okay, go to edit contact on the left.
edit contact.
And then when you scroll down, hold on. I forgot.
You play with it and you're gonna get used to using it, but people haven't even gone in yet. So you just have to,
That's right.
you just have to use
Do
it.
it over and over. and
We'll do it,
over.
we'll do another. We were talking about, how it's quality is in the quantity.
Yeah.
Quality, it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but quality is in the quantity. The more you do something, the better you're gonna be at it. The better you'll be at it.
Mhm.
There's a study that they did a study, and this is, I hope I don't mess this up. This teacher, a pottery class, he divided the class into two groups. One class, you're gonna do one vase, one vase, whatever, right? That your whole grade is gonna count on that one. The other was make as many as you possibly can. And of course, the people that only did one, it wasn't very good. But the folks that had to do a lot, because they were practicing,
Mhm.
every single one got better and better and better. Then you can notice the quality.
Lacey, does Lacey have any questions before we chime off?
Lacey, do
Are you guys finishing the meeting already?
you have any questions?
Yes.
Go.
So I was talking to I was doing the calling people in my phone book, and a friend happens to be working with an agent, but she wanted me to work too, and she was like, "Oh well, if you find the house, then I go with you." And I was like, "No, it doesn't work like that, because that's not ethical. Like, you're in a rush, but not do it like that." So I told her that since they have been approved for like very little, like 250 for the loan, and her agent hasn't been able to find anything for her at all, and she wants a house with a backyard, because that's her most. It needs to have a backyard. So like, here in Homestead, a house with a backyard for that price is yeah. So I told her that maybe what I could do, respecting her aging and all of that, is, since I work, like I drive a lot for the work that I have, I could look at houses in a certain area, like Vision City or places like areas like that. And if I see a house that might be like that hasn't been taken care of or something like that, I could call the owners and ask them if they want to sell the house, and if they do, like I could call her first as buyer, so she could talk to her agent and yada yada. But here's the thing: what is the limit of a house of the destruction that a house needs to have to still be able to qualify for the loan and for the insurance and all of that?
The problem,
I don't know if I worded that correctly. Probably not.
Yes, Lacy. The house has to be livable, meaning when the appraiser goes out there, the house has to be in move-in condition. It needs an AC, it needs a kitchen, it needs flooring, it needs everything for the house to move in. If the house needs extensive repairs, there is a different type of loan that she could get, to purchase that home, but it reduces your chances of getting that home, your offer accepted. Por ejemplo, let's say, for example, you see a beautiful house. Or let's just go through the exercise. You said your person needs a house for $250 in Homestead, right?
With a backyard.
Okay. I know there's nothing for $250 in Homestead, but this is what I would do. You can see my screen?
Yes.
She said yes.
Yes.
Where's the gate?
Creo que no te escucho.
Whenever somebody tells me 250, I always go $10,000 higher just in case there's something for like 251 or 252 that they could potentially get qualified for. I know Homestead is area 79, 78, 69. That's just from my memory. But you could use the map search.
So it's 79, 78, and 68.
Now, this is going to give me everything. If she tells you that she does not want condo or townhouse, then I need to come over here and then just say single family home.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 12 matches. Wait, these are also mobile homes. Single. Here they are. These are all of the homes under 250. That looks like a mobile home too. So I would grab this search right here and send it to them and see if that makes sense to them. Once they see what's available under a certain amount, I immediately ask them, okay, either you need to add somebody to your loan so you can have more buying power, or this is all you're going to get in the Homestead, Florida City area. And that way you quickly eliminate them, or you continue working with them if they add someone to their loan. Brother, sister, cousin, they add someone, all of a sudden they can afford, 380 or 400. So this is exactly what I would do for that particular customer. Now, if that customer is working with another agent, my first question is, are they an exclusive? Are they exclusive with that particular agent? Did they sign something? If they say no, then you could also easily do these searches for them and send it to them. And honestly, whoever does find them the house first is going to get the deal. unless that agent showed the same house that you showed, then it becomes a little bit of a question. But if you find them a house, you're entitled to earn your commission.
Lazy, but if you're also doing that, what you're willing to do, knocking on doors, talking to people that might want to sell their house, that's fantastic because you're getting to know that neighborhood. You're doing research. You are becoming known. You're preparing yourself for what's going to happen, the next deal, the next sale. And now these people know. Now, if you can, get their name, get their address, get their phone number, get their email address, if you can, if they're willing to talk to you, and add them onto that database that we're talking about. At some point, they may want to sell, and they already know you. So congratulations on that activity.
Yeah, that was the good thing that I saw about that little exercise, because you're mute. Because if they don't want, like, even if the house, if I do find somebody that wants to sell a house, but it happens to be like once the comparative, like the CRM is done and CRA is done and it's way over like 250, well, maybe I got a listing for like, even if she can afford it, but like I got a listing out of the exercise. So you're mute. Richard, you're mute.
Yeah, you have a listing, and that's really what you want. You want to have an inventory. You want to have your own inventory. And I got to tell you, that's an activity you really should continue doing, Lacey. If you're willing to do that work and willing to make those things, that's fantastic. Don't stop doing it. Your friend has given you the reason to do some activity that most people never do. So congratulations.
Okay.
So let me see here. What else do we have? Do you have anything besides, okay, so now we know that you're trying to find somebody, you're trying to find a house for 250,000 with a yard. So we know that.
So we'll help you, Lacey. We'll help you with that. But do exactly what I just did. And then see if she has someone else that wants to be on her loan. If she says no, then she has to settle for a townhouse, condo, or those houses that you saw there.
Yeah, give them options.
I actually contacted a few people. Like I even have another friend that I know they're moving out of state, that I have to contact them to see maybe if they want to sell the house or something. And probably if they want to, if the price happens to be around that price, maybe she could figure something out, the other friend.
Whoever stays in touch with the client the most is the one that's going to get the deal. So if you just stay on top of that person, you'll eventually sell them the house, because most agents are lazy and they don't follow up as often as they should. Okay. Bueno, if you have any other questions, we're here. Call us and we're here to help you.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
You too. Bye.